Hello everyone, how's it going? I am WoWcrendor and I am joined by Nobbel.
Hello, everyone.
There he is.
You're so good with those cues, man. You're so good. Like, this is the moment. Last time you did it, I think you've mastered it.
Yeah,
To be
I've
honest.
gotten a lot better. Because you were the first fishing with Crendor. I still get people that are like, you should fish with Nobbel. And I'm like, I did.
Mm-hmm.
I never get that. I'm like, you just go look for it. Either way, so Legion is the new WoW expansion. Yeah.
Get hyped.
Hype train 2016, 2015.
Did you see Illidan, everybody? Now get hyped. It's just Illidan.
It is Illidan.
If you have seen that picture where they were like, in case of emergency, break the glass, and then with Illidan,
Yeah.
some numbers up, that was hilarious.
I like that. But there's a lot of lore that is behind this expansion, and I, for one, am very bad at lore. Even though I know about the lore now, I'm still very bad at it. But you're not.
Some would disagree, but I try.
Well, you're better than a lot of people I know.
I try.
So, I've played Warcraft 3, as you might know. I played through all of it on my channel. I've read some of the books. I haven't read, like, all the books, but I read, like, I skimmed through a lot of them. And then, so this expansion, it's kind of like, my mind's kind of warped all over the place. And I want to ask you questions. Some of them are normal questions. Some of them make absolutely no sense. And some of them are just conspiracies. But I figured, why not, right?
I'm already excited, man. You should see the smile on my face. I can't wait what you can come up with.
All right. So, from what you've heard so far, what is the lore of this expansion? Because all I know is Gu'dan, went through the portal from Draenor, and then he found Illidan, and he freed Illidan, who was dead, but he wasn't dead, and then he is going to use Illidan to help his cause to go to, the Tomb of Sargeras, but the Tomb of Sargeras he tried to go to in his alternate reality, and he died, so he'll find...
Oh, Warlords was Draenor with your alternate realities and duplicates. Oh, you've created so many trouble. I can understand the sentiment because they're dumping a whole bunch of storyline into one expansion.
Yeah.
If you're ever in the mood for reading, just pick up The War of the Ancients and the novel Stormrage. And if you read those two, you're pretty much up to date. I don't know if Gu'dan visited Illidan first or if he did it after opening up the portal for the Legion. I don't know if they confirmed that or not. But other than that, you're pretty much spot on, man. Alternate Gu'dan comes from Draenor into our Azeroth, and he finds our Illidan, who apparently somehow his soul stayed in his body after the events of the Black Temple. Like, we took him out atop the Black Temple, and he was like, Maiev, you're nothing without me, baby. And she was like, he's right. I'm nothing without him. So what she did, she took his body and she put it in a crystal, because that's what you do.
Yeah, of course.
So his soul, would be imprisoned, and apparently somehow the pact that Gul'dan made with Archimonde had him go into the tomb of not the tomb of Sargeras. Apparently Illidan was imprisoned within the Warden's area.
Yeah.
And he liberated him for some reason.
So.
And yeah,
it was Archimonde that liberated him.
Uncertain. Well, what we saw at the end of Draenor was Archimonde telling Gul'dan, like, Gul'dan, we made a pact, and then zap, he goes to Azeroth, which I actually did not see coming, because he sends him through a portal, and some way, somehow, he ends up on our Azeroth, but whatever. So it could be that Archimonde is behind it, or perhaps it's Gul'dan's own motives of finding Illidan, because if you read the description on Gul'dan, it says that... No, I have to correct myself. It says on the website, the description says that Gul'dan was sent to open that rift, to get that Legion invasion going. And then later in one of the Q&As or one of the explanations, they said, Gul'dan was definitely sent there as their plan. That was one of his main targets. So definitely with Archimonde behind it, yeah. So really, really interesting. It's now that you mentioned, it's really cool, like why and what and how is it all going to happen. Awesome.
Yeah, because that's what's blowing my mind so much, is like we went from the alternate reality back to our reality, but it almost feels like an alternate reality still. I think that's the thing that like confuses me and probably a lot of other people is like it still feels like an alternate reality, and that's why I asked like, are we still like in our timeline now?
Yeah, well, that's one of the few things. Like, if you look at my first response, I was like, did they go back in time and did they do something there? But no, it's really just our time period after the events of World of Warcraft. We come home, and there is, a Legion invasion with Gul'dan, alternate Gul'dan, and our Illidan. And thankfully, alternate Gul'dan is the only alternate version that's left. I'm a little disappointed in Ural. At the end of the expansion, Ural was like, if you need us, we are here.
Yeah.
And apparently she meant we'll stay here because none of the alternate characters are going to join us in the war as stated by Blizzard. So that's a little bit disappointing. But on the other hand, it also closes off the expansion that was World of Draenor because it gave a whole bunch of headaches and trying to explain things. So thankfully that's left behind.
Yeah, I think they probably would have brought those characters with if it didn't cause like mass confusion, but it does. And so kind of like, and now when we get to kill Gul'dan, that kind of like puts the stamp on the WoD expansion. Like that's it. He's the last like remnants of it.
Yep, except for the Twisted Nether transcending all realities, like the Burning Legion and Archimonde and Kil'jaeden, they're like all over the place. So that's the final part. I was actually thinking about like why did Warlords of Draenor happen in the first place? And I cannot come up with any other reason than introduce us to these orcs so that we're all ready for the Warcraft movie that's coming. Because if you look at the storyline, what exactly happened there? Sure, we got a little bit of backstory for the Arakoa, for example. But now that we know that they're not joining us in this war against the Legion, what exactly did it do for the storyline except keep us busy so that this expansion can happen?
That's what I thought too. Like the more and more I thought about it, I was like, it seems like it was kind of like a WoW movie propaganda thing. And it's not to say that's like a bad thing because we still got to learn about all those characters, but it's like they could have did a lot of better things probably.
Yeah, like if you look at Mr. Pandaria with the whole Raffion warning, the Legion is coming, we must rebuild the final Titan. It really felt like after Mr. Pandaria, the Legion should have happened, the Legion expansion.
Like this expansion,
Yeah, exactly. And it's like Warlords just was dropped in between there, like, okay, we're going to keep you guys busy. We're going to work on this. You stay there. You stay on the alternate reality. We'll see you in a year. And then we can do this time.
Yeah, just like, let's take a break and go to a different time, time dimension.
Just party there a little bit. No worries.
Then we'll come back. It'll be fun. So we're going to the Broken Isles. And last time I remember the Broken Isles was like Warcraft 3. And you had to sail that boat around and stuff, and Illidan was running around, and you're like, gotta catch Illidan. And you're like, you chase him down and whatever. Oh yeah, you're playing as Maiev trying to chase him down. And I think that's all I really remember of the Broken Isles. That and like Tomb of Sargeras is there, and then like that's really all I remember. But like what are the Broken Isles? Like I was like, yeah, the Broken Isles. Like I remember someone saying like Gul'dan raised them up from the sea. Like I need to explain that because my mind's still like what.
Well, I'll have to look this one up exactly on the Wowpedia page as well, because you're right. What we saw in Warcraft 3 with the whole Tomb of Sargeras bit, that was indeed the Broken Isles. And what it says is, the Broken Isles are a mysterious chain of islands raised up from the seafloor by Gul'dan, which are located south of the Maelstrom. So that was actually very confusing, because they said that this new kind of elf that we're going to find on the Broken Isles, they said that they've been living there for 10,000 years. But how is that possible if it was Gul'dan who raised them from the bottom of the sea? Like, did they have like a magical protection bubble or something like that? So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But, yeah?
They would have to live underwater too, right?
You would assume so, unless they're going to retcon that bit.
Yeah, which they probably will.
Not the first time that it happened. But basically, it was way back when, like 10,000 years ago, you had this elven empire, right? And the Highborn, together with the Queen Azora, they tried to summon Sargeras into the world. But people like Malfurion, the Dragon Aspects, Ronin, and Cressus, and all the good stuff, they prevented them from that happening. And you can actually see this bits of it in the Well of Eternity dungeon. If you remember teaming up with Illidan, the dungeon, and at the end you get the Dragon Soul. That's part of it. So at the end of the war, the Well of Eternity was so messed up with trying to summon Sargeras with it that it started, to break the land apart. Because in the past, the Northrend and the Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor, that was all together in one gigantic continent. and it blew up, it split apart, and it all vanished beneath the sea. So those are the Broken Isles. Then later on, there was a guardian called Agewin, who battled with the Avatar of Sargeras. And the Avatar of Sargeras is not the real Sargeras, it's not the real Uber Titan leader of the Burning Legion. It was just an avatar, so it made it easier to summon him to the world. She defeated him, or at least she thought that she defeated him. That's a whole different storyline. And she locked away the parts of his avatar within the tomb of Sargeras. And the tomb, that was one of the Broken Isles that she got from the bottom of the ocean. She locked him away there. She sealed it off with magic that was... Any magic on Azeroth could not remove it. That's how powerful she was. But she didn't count on magic from a different planet, like Draenor. And that's where Gul'dan comes in. Gul'dan, he knew about the Tomb of Sargeras. He raised those Broken Isles from the seafloor. And he went in search of more delicious power. Because that's what Gul'dan is all about. Inside the tomb, he did not find his power. Unfortunately, he only found his own demise. And with blood, he wrote on the walls exactly what happened. And he died. Sad for Gul'dan.
Unlimited power.
Exactly. So he died in there. Later, they made a couple more trips into the tomb. For example, when the second time that the Horde invaded, or indeed with the Warcraft campaign with Illidan, when he went to get the Eye of Sargeras, that was also there. So Gul'dan died. Illidan did the whole bringing down the tomb on Maiev and her troops. Maiev teleported out of there. Her troops died. And that was kind of the last thing that we saw about the Tomb of Sargeras. So now, with the Legion expansion, we're actually going back there. And I wonder if we'll see anything of Maiev or troops, or if we're going to see something of the Avatar of Sargeras or something like that. Should be very interesting.
Or maybe even the blood on the wall from Gul'dan.
Now that's what I was wondering about, yeah. Because this alternate Gul'dan is going to go into the Tomb of Sargeras to open up this rift. Is he going to find the skeletal remains of himself? Like, not his skull, right? His skull was picked up by Illidan. But is he going to find this journal written on the walls? And how is he going to respond to Illidan? Because... Illidan absorbed his skull and then took it with him to the Black Temple to communicate with it, to talk with it for a little while. Like, is Illidan gonna be in love with Gul'dan now? Is he gonna be like, "Ooh, Gul'dan, baby, I missed you.
Here's
I missed
the
your
thing,
beautiful skull."
Is like, I was thinking about it. I was like, so he's already absorbed the skull's power once. What if he got Gul'dan's skull again and got double Gul'dan powers?
Yep, then he would become
be
even
great.
more powerful, yeah.
And then,
be really cool.
Oh my god, Illidan could become so powerful through Gul'dan's skulls that he takes down Sargeras.
Ooh, well, bringing down Sargeras, like a lot of people suggested, that Sargeras is one of these uber evil bosses. But if you look at any story in World of Warcraft, trace back any one of them to their origin, you either end up with Sargeras and the Burning Legion, you end up at the Titans, the Pantheon, or you end up at the Old Gods. So if they let us fight an uber being like Sargeras, has been described as being able to stab planets with a sword. Like, how do you face off against such a creature? And I would like to say that we're never gonna do that. But on the other hand, they are giving us these artifacts. They are giving us these legendary weapons.
Yeah.
And if in the past only the weapon of Broxigar, like Cenarius' axe, was able to strike Sargeras, it would make sense to give everybody such an uber powerful weapon. I hope not. I hope they'll go with like an avatar of Sargeras, or maybe kill Jaden fully on the planet. But it's not impossible. It's definitely not impossible.
Well, it's like that's like everybody talking about summoning a Titan. So maybe it would be like we'd fight with Titans to kill them.
They are definitely trying to summon a Dark Titan, which is Sargeras. And that's why I said, like, if you want to know the storyline, go back to the War of the Ancients novels. That's what they tried to do back then, and that's what they're trying to do now. They're trying to bring Sargeras into the world, and that's why we need to find these 3 pillars of creation, and we need to stop their plans.
So, like, but aren't there good Titans still, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what if those good Titans helped us to fight Sargeras and, like, kill him?
Yeah, it's possible, but we haven't heard from the Titans in over 10,000 years. Like, they haven't really paid. We've heard from their minions. We've gotten bits and pieces here and there. But it's not impossible. Sure, the Titans could come down. If you look at the presentation where they had like the starry sky with the creatures in there, those were the Titans that they showed. So it's not impossible. But again, it falls down to how far are they going to take the storyline? Because if you're going to take with Sargeras, then you also have the Titans. That's 2 of the 3 pillars in the WoW lore. Like, where do you go from there? What kind of being are you going to create afterwards?
Warcraft 4.
Oh, yes. Just blow up the entire WoW and let's get the new RTS.
Not gonna lie, that would be pretty amazing.
I would love it, but I just don't see it happening. Not with a
Yeah.
StarCraft RTS just releasing around the corner. Don't see it happening.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, that's like okay. So now we got the Broken Isles, we got Illidan. Let's see what else was in this expansion. There's we fight Gul'dan and we kill him. And like the second one, oh yeah, the first thing is the first raid. What's it called? The Dream, Emerald
Emerald
Dream,
Nightmare.
Emerald Nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the Emerald Nightmare, is that just the Emerald Dream? I remember I played in Warcraft 3 and he's like, "Oh, the Nightmare." But like what exactly is the difference between the Dream and the Nightmare?
Did they mention the Nightmare in Warcraft 3? I can't remember that one, man. Did
I
they?
thought they did.
Oh, well, anyways, the Emerald Dream and the Emerald Nightmare. The Emerald Dream, basically, when the Titans came down and they shaped the world of Azeroth, they didn't do it in one go. They did it in different stages, right? Where you would place a mountain. First you'll have nothing, then a little bit of mountain, and a little bit more mountain until it was finished. In the Emerald Dream, you'll see the world as it was finished by the Titans. You'll not see any influences from outside. For example, if you look at the area with Stormwind Castle there, in the Emerald Dream, Stormwind Castle won't be there because it was only later placed. And if you peel away the layers of the dream, you'll see the development cycles that the Titans went through, right? The stages that they went through. It's the area of Ysera and the Green Dragonflight. It's where druids can teleport to if they're trained and they can, learn more about druidism.
Yeah.
And then the Nightmare, which ties in with both the novel Stormrage and the novel War of the Ancients. During the War of the Ancients, you had this Highborn working together with Azara to bring Sargeras. This Highborn was called Xavius, and he made the mistake of pissing off Malfurion. The first time, Malfurion shot him down with lightning, and his soul was picked up by Sargeras. Xavius' soul was picked up, and instead of, letting him die, Sargeras decided, you know what? I'm gonna send you back with a new purpose. I'm gonna make you better than you were before, and you're gonna try again. So he took Xavius' soul from a Night Elf Highborn, and he turned him into the first of the Satyrs, with the mission of bringing Sargeras still into the world and creating more Satyrs. So Xavius, he went to work, and then he made the mistake again of messing with Tyrande, and Malfurion wasn't having none of that. So instead of shooting him with lightning, he turned him into a freaking tree. I'm not joking. He turned him into a tree, and unfortunately, Tyrande was still kidnapped, but Xavius was a tree, Like,
Yeah.
Malfurion was so cool on that book. So what happened was the world exploded, Well of Eternity crashing, and Xavius felt that. He couldn't move in his tree form, but he did feel the world sundering. And then later on we find out that he made a contact or a deal or a pact with the old god N'Zoth, and together they worked on corrupting the Emerald Dream and turning it into the Emerald Nightmare. The first notification that we got from that, apparently in Warcraft 3, I don't remember that moment. If anybody knows in the comment section, let me know.
It may have not been Warcraft 3. I may have just seen something on the internet, and then I tied that into Warcraft 3 in my memories. So
could be,
that's a
but if there
possibility.
is, there's always room for learning. But during classic World of Warcraft, if you remember those world bosses that you had, the dragons,
Yep.
those were dragons of Nightmare. Those were dragons originally from the Green Dragonflight, from the Emerald Dream, but they were corrupted by the Nightmare created by N'Zoth and Xavius.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So like I know there's that one by what's that zone? Highlands? Not Highlands. What's next to that? There's Arathi Highlands. There's Western Plaguelands. It's like in the middle of those. God, what's it called? The Hinterlands.
Oh, yeah.
I know there's like a portal and a dragon by the Hinterlands somewhere there. So like, I take it that's one of them then.
Yeah, that was one of them. You also had one in Duskwood. In the middle there's also a glade, and there are like a couple more. And those world boss were actually corrupted. So we took them on, we took them out. Then in the novel Stormrage, we find out that the leader of the Night Elves from Classic, Stackhelm, he was also corrupted by the Nightmare. That was the whole reason why he built up that new world tree that the Night Elves live on. Because Malfurion was like, nah, let's not do it. And Stackhelm was like, let's do it, man. Let's build this tree. So he could corrupt it and spread the influence of the Nightmare. So eventually they found out that Stackhelm was up to no good. They liberated Malfurion from the Emerald Nightmare. and they tried to kick the nightmare out of the dream, but they were unable to. At the book, they actually say it that they were able to push it to the corners of the dream, but never really disconnect it, and they would deal with it at another day. As it turns out, that another day has come because the nightmare has made a return. Malfurion, some way, somehow, has been captured again, exactly like it happened in Storm Rage. So pretty much what they're doing is they're retelling that storyline, only now they're actually placing it in the game instead of just telling it in a book. So we're gonna go in, we're gonna team up with somebody like Cenarius, we're gonna save Malfurion, and we're gonna take on Xavius, N'Zoth, the Nightmare. It's gonna be awesome, man.
That does sound really cool. I feel like that raid probably like the most fun first raid we're gonna have since like Karazhan.
Oh man, if they deliver, there is so much potential because the Nightmare's influence, the possibilities are limitless. In the book, they described it as, well, it wasn't necessarily in the book, but Jaina, for example, was also captured by the Nightmare, and she dreamed that she, instead of Arthas, picked up Frostmourne, and that she became the Lich Queen. Or Sylvanas dreamed that she was back as a Highborn, only to be converted into, her undead self again. Or this soldier guy that ended up cleaning out a mine, but instead of just a random day of killing kobolds, the kobolds turned into the undead and turned against me in the darkness. It's freaking amazing. And that's the beauty of a Nightmare, is that the possibilities are endless. Like in-game, they haven't really done much with it, because from time to time we actually go into the Nightmare, and then you only see like black shadowy creatures, the game turns a little bit green, but that's about it. I really hope that they're gonna take this concept and just deliver, man. Imagine fighting bosses of the past. Imagine fighting your worst nightmares. Oh, I can't wait.
That is really cool. I mean, yeah, you could fight Jaina the Frost Queen. You can fight and do they have to how would the zones be? Like, where would you fight Jaina the Frost Queen, for example? Would it be at the ICC again, or would it be like in Stormwind, or like where would she be?
Anywhere where they want, to be honest. The dream pretty much spreads over the entirety of Azeroth, so the entire planet is there. So if they want to place her, they can place her anywhere. But if you're asking, like, how are we going to get in there, there's going to be this world tree again, a completely new one. At the bottom, I think we're going to liberate Malfurion. I think that was at the bottom. And then later on, we're going to climb up into the tree and we'll actually, deal with the dream and the nightmare, and we're going to step in there. And then it's anyone's guess, to be honest. If they want, they can just take copies of areas in Azeroth, turn it a little bit green, and call it the Emerald Nightmare. Very simple, but also very cool, because it has limitless possibilities of what they can do.
Yeah, that is really cool. I mean, you do some crazy things. You could have you fight like old Illidan before he became a demon, like in Silithus, while he's riding like a dragon.
Zombie dragons. They can do the zombie dragons
they
fight.
They can do it.
Oh
my god. I feel like this is gonna probably be like the best raid since Karazhan, is like an opening raid, because like all the other raids that have happened, like even Cataclysm, the first raid was what's that? It was like the Blackrock Mountain raid. I forgot what it was called. It was something. It was unmemorable. And there was in Mists of Pandaria. What was the first raid in Mists of Pandaria?
Mokshan Vaults.
Yeah, Mokshan Vaults. And then Warlords was Highmaul, yeah. And I was like, Highmaul. I was like, okay. IMO. I'm sure a lot of people like.
There are different opinions about it. I hear a lot of people complain about Highmaul, and a lot of people really loved it.
Yeah, but it's like, I guess, like lore-wise and like raid-wise, like this is a really cool concept for a raid. I guess that's more what I'm trying to say. Like, it's probably the coolest concept for a raid we've had in like a long time.
Right, and that's exactly what it is, right? Like, it's a concept on paper right now, and we'll see how it's going to be when it's in beta and actually live. Yeah. Just say that there's definitely potential to work with here. Don't mess it up, Liz. Come on.
Come on. All right. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And then the second raid is we go to fight Gu'dan, and he's in like the new elf people's like temple. Is that what it is?
Yeah, sort of like a palace kind of thing. Palace of Suramar, I think it's called.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. I mean, we'll probably learn more about that. Where would that be? Is that just like on one of the Broken Isles?
Yeah, it's gonna be, I would have to look up a map. Hang on.
All right.
Legion map, let's Google for it. But I think it's just called Suramar, the area, to be honest.
Yeah.
And that would be a palace kind of thing, like here, compare it to the Well of Eternity, only a lot bigger. So you're
Yeah.
gonna go into the palace, you're gonna work your way up the quarters, and then up top they've created their own little night well, I think they called it. And that's very similar to the Well of Eternity. They used one of those pillars of creation to create the little night well, and apparently their magic allows them to flourish as a society, as a people. Again, very much like the Highborn and Azara back in the day. So that's going to be very interesting because, like I mentioned, the Well of Eternity, that whole fight caused the land of Kalimdor to split apart. What
Yeah.
is this fight going to cause, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, oh yeah, aren't we supposed to see Azara too? I think they mentioned that Azara will be in a zone.
Her minion is confirmed. There is a minion described on the website that's going to be in that zone, and you're going to pretty much have a competition with her, like who can reach the pillar first.
Mm-hmm.
Azara hasn't received a description yet. Doesn't mean that she won't show up. It's just not confirmed yet, as far as I know.
Yeah, she might just like show up and be like, "Hey, I'm here," and then leave. Or
Yeah, and
something
be
really
there for the
brief.
next expansion.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people are like, this is the final expansion because they're dumping so much into one expansion. It could be the final one, but, you know, every expansion can be the final one. Necessarily because they're dumping so much story into one doesn't make it the final expansion. Because if they want to, next expansion, Azora and her islands and King Rastakhan and the trolls. So there's definitely story left to tell.
And I mean, wouldn't the Burning Legion like want to invade Azeroth too and kind of like destroy? Well, I mean they're in Azeroth, but I mean like the actual Kalimdor and Eastern Kingdoms,
Oh, yeah.
and like destroy all that. That'd be kind of cool to have it be destroyed again.
Complete revamp again, like the Cataclysm.
So, I
Yup.
mean, a lot of places are still like damaged from the Cataclysm. It's like years later, just like, you know, they can get over it.
Just blow it all up and bring in the RTS. Do it.
Yeah.
Liz. Come on.
So, I think that pretty much is good for my questions on what's actually happening in this expansion. I explained it pretty well. But, oh yeah, well, I guess the final, like, Illidan. What do you think Illidan is going to do? Like, is he going to be, once Gul'dan dies, do you think that's when we'd, like, have to team up with Illidan? Or is Illidan going to be like, I'm not teaming up with you? Or, like, what do you think his role is going to be in this?
Ooh, good question. Very hard to predict. What they confirmed yesterday in the Q&A, and I want everybody to just sit down right now because this is gonna blow your minds. Illidan's gonna be pissed at us after we killed him.
Yeah.
I know. It's a
Unbelievable.
shocker, everybody.
Why would he be bad?
But Illidan, he's gonna be pissed off at us. They had some concept art during the presentation where you actually see Illidan strike out at Gul'dan. So I imagine that he teams up with us, or at least, you know, goes against Gul'dan before we face Gul'dan in the palace. The way that I see it happening is that Gul'dan resurrects Illidan, and for some reason, maybe he is under their control, maybe he doesn't see another way out, maybe he is pissed, and he's like, screw the world, I'm gonna do whatever I want.
Yeah.
He opens up a rift, or he helps up opening the rift, or something in that direction. The Legion invasion starts, and Illidan is like, okay, you know, I'm not with the Legion. I don't like the Legion. I'm a demon hunter. So I'm going to be against the Legion. We don't really know why he sent away his demon hunters, the Illidari, 10 years ago. What kind of special mission he sent them on. So that's probably going to tie in with the whole new class of demon hunters.
Yeah.
And then I see it, at first he's going to be with the Legion. Then later he's not going to be the good guy, because Illidan should never be the good guy. But he is going to get some sort of redemption story, because Madsen, time and time again, said, I love a redemption story. I would love to bring Illidan back. And to be fair, for myself, Illidan was one of those characters that I don't mind being returned into the storyline. Like other characters, Arthas or whatnot, their story is done. You know, they have done their part, but they messed up Illidan's storyline in the Burning Crusade so much. Like, they turned him from this anti-hero, this double agent, into a guy who simply lost his mind and started talking to a freaking skull.
Yeah.
So I really hope they do him justice this time. He's not going to be a Tyrion forging. He's not going to be a Thrall. He's not the uber good guy, but he should be for the sake of the world, you know?
Yeah. Because that's what he took the demon powers for in the first place.
Exactly, and that's when he, you know, Illidan is one of those characters that gets screwed over time and time again. During the War of the Ancients, he actually tried to save the world by becoming a double agent. That's the whole reason why Sargeras burned out his eyes. Because Illidan was like, yo, I want to join you guys. Okay, you want to join us? Gone are your eyes. And, you know, with the whole tattoo thing, and he did. And then later, of course, it backfired. You know, the old gods reversed his spell, and he did create a new Well of Eternity. That said, the whole reason why they banished Illidan was because he created a new Well of Eternity, right? Because he got magic back into their society.
Mm-hmm.
Then, like 10,000 years later, during the Cataclysm, the Night Elves are like, oh, you know what? Let's just accept mages back into our society. Let's do magic again. So the whole reason why they imprisoned Illidan in the first place is just forgotten about. So that's kind of sucky for Illidan. Kind of sucky. So I hope, I hope that this time his plans work and that he doesn't get screwed over again.
Yeah. And yeah, that would be nice. It's like Illidan just needs a nice little story wrap up for him.
And step away from Tyrande. That girl doesn't know. Step away from Tyrande, man. She doesn't like you. She doesn't want you. Well, she likes you, but she just doesn't love you. Step away from her. Take Maiev. I'm sure that Maiev will love you.
Yeah. Maiev seems like a kind, caring person.
No murder in her whatsoever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here's another thing I was wondering. How does Gu'dan know about Illidan?
Good question, and uncertain. It could be that Archimonde informed him. It could be that he found somebody to tell him everything about our reality, because during Warlords of Draenor, he actually tells Khadgar, like, Khadgar, I've been informing about you, and I know our history. So it could very well that one of our peons has been captured by Gu'dan, one of our followers gone missing for a few hours and spilled the beans. There are countless explanations you could give for it, to be honest.
All right, I see.
Maybe he met up with Illidan in the Twisted Nether. Who knows?
That's true. Oh, here's another thing with the Twisting Nether whole, like, blah. So if we had to kill, like, Archimonde or, any of those guys, we would have to kill them in the Twisting Nether, right?
Yeah.
So is it possible that we have an expansion where we go to the Twisting Nether?
Yeah, for sure. Well, there is a little bit of confusion. Like, first of all, not every single demon has to be killed in the Twisted Nether. Manaroth, for example, he pretty much died. He was resurrected later on, but he didn't really come back. Whereas demons like the Dreadlords, Archimonde, most likely kill Jaden and Sargeras. Those are the ones that have been confirmed to have their souls anchored to the Twisted Nether and to actually go back there. Will we go to the Twisted Nether to kill them? Well, in the mythic difficulty of the Archimonde fight, the entire raid team is actually teleported to the Twisted Nether, where they kick the crap out of Archimonde. Which, to be fair, if you're a demon, you can only be defeated in the Twisted Nether. You shouldn't teleport your enemies to the Twisted Nether. That's just bad tactics right there. But regardless, that's a little bit of confusion, because after they do it on mythic difficulty, they jump back to the Draenor cutscene. It's exactly the same on all difficulties. And a lot of people were like, did we kill him in the Twisted Nether? Is he gone for good now? And I would say that since the cinematic takes place on Draenor, that's where you see his light die out. I would say that Archimonde is still sort of alive. He returned to the Twisted Nether. So will we see an expansion taking place in the Twisted Nether one day? For sure. For sure. That's where you gotta take out the Burning Legion, so there is no other way. Yeah. And it's gonna be awesome.
That would be really cool. I feel like that would probably be the final expansion. I feel like it would be like we'd fight all the, like, Burning Legion invasion things on Azeroth, and then we'd go to the Twisting Nether and, like, end it all.
It could be one of the ways, but then what will happen to Azeroth with the old gods? What will happen with the Void storyline that was hinted at during Draenor? There are still loose ends to tie up. So to say, like, we kicked the crap out of the Burning Legion, it would definitely take care of one threat, but I would love it if they would just keep on going and going and going and create a bigger threat even behind Sargeras. Because the story behind Sargeras right now is that he was sent on a mission by the Titans to bring order to the universe. And he did it, but as the universe started fighting back, as he saw what kind of darkness was in there, he started to doubt, and he started, maybe our way is not the right way. So he talked with the Pantheon and he was like, yo, bros, is this the right way? And they were like, oh, we don't know. We think it is. Oh, we can't really help you, brother. So he became corrupted, and what if we can cleanse him? What if Refion's warning of we must rebuild the final Titan means that we're going to use these pillars of creation to cleanse Sargeras and bring it to our side? And then we'll find out that it wasn't so much his doubts, but there was actually an Uber being behind him, corrupting him, and we have a whole different threat to deal with.
Oh my god, you're blowing my mind. Now into my, like, crazy conspiracies. Okay. Here's the big thing I asked, like, live streams and everything. where's Arthas buried?
Uncertain where he is. Although a box in the Stormwind Cemetery with the Lordaeron logo has showed up, so it's possible that he's inside that box. It's also possible that his body simply disintegrated. If you remember the moment where you struck down Kel'Thuzad in Warcraft 3, and his body just decomposed, they actually told that story in Arthas Rise of the Lich King, where they're like, his body quickly decomposed, and Jaina explained it that when you dabble in dark magic like that, sometimes your body just goes to gooey when you die. So it's also possible that Arthas was turned into goo, or let your mind wander free and fill in the blanks, because they never explained it.
So, here's what I think would be amazing.
This is gonna be good.
Anduin is, he's just like the little kid, right? He's just like, aha! He's the new chosen, one. He's the new guy. It's just like, I don't know. For some reason, he's the new chosen one. He becomes evil, right? He becomes like Arthas was, and he turns to the Burning Legion. Not even the Burning Legion, just he gets corrupted by some insane power. And then, not Gul'dan, we, the paladins that are by res Arthas's body. I don't know how, but they res Arthas, and then Arthas fights with us, in his old paladin form. He could even be an undead paladin. It's fine. And then we go and take out Anduin in this intense storyline. That's what I would do. But it probably doesn't make a lot of sense. However, not a lot of things they do make sense. I think it'd be cool.
Ain't that the truth? Holy snap. Put it on a t-shirt, man. Is it impossible? No. Absolutely not. They could go with it, but does it make sense? I can give a few arguments why not. Let's begin with saying that kicking the crap out of Anduin sounds like a really, really fun expansion. If they just give me an expansion with kicking the crap out of Anduin, I'm all for it. But it seems like they want to give Anduin some story development, and they want to make it a better character, right? Right now, he's the little kid who puts peace above all. He lets people like Garrosh into the Veil so that he can blow it up. He's a little kid. He's stupid. He's stupid, He has this dream fantasy world in his mind that just doesn't work. And it seems like in Legion, they're finally gonna give him some development in that regard. They described it as Anduin's going to learn that the price of peace sometimes is high, and is he willing to pay it? Something like that. To which the screenshot of Varian, some people say is Varian going to die? Is that what he's going to pay for it? And then you have the whole vision of Velen that he's seen with Anduin. He's seen Anduin in an armor made out of the light with a weapon that's very much like the Ashbringer. And now that everybody's getting an Ashbringer, Anduin's probably also going to get a copy of the Ashbringer. So, he has seen that vision. Doesn't mean that it has to come true, but it seems like they're pushing Anduin in that regard. That said, what you mentioned about Anduin becoming the bad guy, like a sort of Arthas the Lich King, they did mention a line in the novel War Crimes where Garrosh asked Anduin, "Are you an Arthas?" And Anduin was like, "No, I'm not an Arthas." He's like, "Are you an Arthas?" So, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. It could be. He could be the priest version of Arthas. He could start an insane, evil, religious empire, behind him, the Anduin's religion of demonic swag.
Demonic swag.
That's what it'd be called. And all the demons would go to him. He'd become this super high priest lord among the demonic, empire. He would be so strong in his spiritual abilities that he could practically defeat everybody but Archimonde and the other demon dude.
So it would pretty much be Velen's counterpart, yeah?
Yeah, he'd be like the counter of Velen. Evil Velen. But he'd be a human.
I just see an image of Anduin being corrupted by Sargeras. Like people like Kil'jaeden and Archimonde really transform when you get those demonic powers. I wonder what Anduin would look like a giant demon thing. That would look really, really cool.
That would be cool. And then Anduin would be kind of cool then, instead of just being a whiny little kid.
True. But then again, you do have to have some sort of respect for a kid. When Garrosh told him, your mother should have miscarried, and Anduin still holds true to his vows and still holds true to being a priest, you gotta have respect that you don't outright mind blast somebody for saying it.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even know that happened.
Yeah, man, War Crimes, a really, really sick storyline in that regard. Like, it really gave Anduin some storyline, and that's why I'm saying, like, I don't like the character that he is right now because of events like the Veil, but that doesn't mean that there isn't potential to make him a badass. He could definitely be a cool character. They just have to, tell a good story for him.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, let's see. Is that all I got? Might be all I got. I mean, do you wanna add anything? Like any little tidbits of like what you're hoping happens or what you're looking forward to or whatever.
I got a few things. What I'm hoping to see is that they mentioned Karazhan to be a very important place.
Oh yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah, and Khadgar pretty much is confirmed to be the Guardian. The Legion has come and look at what cool sound my staff makes as he stands before Varian. That was so cool and very much like Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for something, a comic, a short story, a scenario within Karazhan, maybe a little raid that explains why Khadgar is the Guardian and gives a little bit more insight for that. Dalaran, Jaina's gonna be pissed, most likely because Khadgar accepts the help of the Blood Elves again or the help of the Horde. So Jaina leaves Dalaran and Khadgar is the new leader. And it's going to come with us to the Broken Isles and the Broken Shore. And there, the whole Violet Hold is going to have secrets. It's going to explain the origin of the world, origin of mages, origin of Dalaran. Definitely excited to find out more about the origin story. Titans have been mentioned. In High Mountain, there's this Titan artifact of Korgalash. Something like that. The guy that blessed Deathwing. Deathwing's lair is going to be there. Oh, man. Origin lore tied in with the Chronicles. It has... I don't want to overhype it, but Legion has potential, and I so hope that they're going to deliver with this one. I'm still holding off the train until we get a beta, until we actually see what's going to be in the game. Because artifacts have potential as well. That would be my advice to people. Like, a couple of people came up to me like, can you stop being so negative about Legion? And I'm not negative about Legion, I'm just...
skeptical.
Words are words, I want to see the game. As long as I can see it in front of me, then I'm going to be hyped. Otherwise, I'm just going to take it as it is.
Yeah, because everything's great on paper.
Right? Garrus, great on paper.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's, once you actually play around and, like, see the stuff, you're kind of like, all right, maybe it wasn't as good as I thought. Or maybe it is as good as you thought. You don't know.
Keep your expectations low. You can only be surprised. It can only be better.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. You did mention Dalaran. That was the last thing I wanted to ask. How does Dalaran get here? That confused me.
Well, Dalaran is a floating city, and it's been moving ever since Mr. Pandaria, I think. And they were actually planning really cool. They were planning to get Dalaran to the whole Siege of Orgrimmar bit, maybe around the Fedamore location, and you could actually, fight with the city. But apparently, due to lag or whatnot, it wasn't possible. So what you're gonna end up with, like, Dalaran's just gonna be moved to the Broken Shore. You'll still have Dalaran in Northrend. That's just going to be the old version. Yeah. And then a new version that's going to pop up at between the Broken Shore and Azuna.
Oh, that's really cool. Finally. We have the neutral hub city back.
Oh, delicious.
I'm so happy.
And freaking buildings for your classes.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome. I wonder if you can actually communicate between Horde and Alliance, because the screenshot shows Horde and Alliance working together. Yeah. So I wonder how they're going to do that one.
I think you might be able to. I think it's probably more class-focused than faction-focused. So that's really cool. It does sound like they learned from the garrisons, at least, and they're kind of like, hey, instead of your followers going out and doing everything for you, they kind of go out and they're like, hey, there's a cool thing over there. Want to go check it out?
Sounds so much better. That's what garrison should have been, the follower system. Yeah. And actual people that matter for the lore is going to be really cool. I just wonder, how much time are you going to spend in those class areas? Like, are you going to be there constantly? Are you only going to show up to transmog your weapon or whatnot? And what else are they going to do with it? I would love to see something like an in-game TV where you can just sit around with all the other paladins and watch some YouTube videos, or some in-game Hearthstone. How freaking cool would that be?
Because, I mean, I don't think you'll spend too much time there. Because, I mean, there's Dalaran, too. I think it's more of kind of like a place you go to kind of just, like, pick up some quests and, like, transmog and kind of... You probably spend, like, maybe 15, 20 minutes there a day, and then go do other stuff or chill in Dalaran. That's what it sounds like.
Which sounds like fun. It just makes me wonder, like, how much will you actually be partying there with the other factions? Like, role-playing servers must be creaming in their pants. Role-playing, that's going to be awesome. Then you just have to decide who is the one with the Ashbringer, because everybody's gonna get one.
Yeah.
But besides that, it sounds really, really cool, and I hope it's definitely gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I do too. So, thank you for joining me today and answering all my lore questions that I have, which I now understand a bit more.
Anytime.
And hopefully everybody else does too.
Let's hope we'll actually get to see this corrupted Endwind version. Ooh.
I'm telling you, Arthas is coming back.
Right.
He's coming back.
And for those that are wondering, like, I want to read up on this storyline, I want to prepare myself for the expansion. Like I mentioned, pick up the novels War of the Ancients, which are like 3 novels in one. Really cool storyline. It takes a little bit to get into, but once you're about halfway through the first one, it really picks up. And the novel Storm Rage for the Emerald Nightmare bits. If you read those 2, you're well on your way.
All right, sweet. And then I'll put your links in the description below. If you want to go super in depth with more lore, and you enjoyed what you heard today, go watch Nobbel's videos and stuff, because that's what you do.
Let's hope what you do. And if you like my accent, just stick around. And if you hate it, that's okay. That's like everything. But check out my stuff. Maybe you'll enjoy it. I've got a ton of videos up and a ton of videos more coming.
Yeah, because I imagine as more and more info comes out, you're going to put out a lot more lore info and
Yep.
super dive into it.
Yeah, like story of Xavius, story of, what other characters do we have? Nuzaf, for example, the story of the Nightmare, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely more videos coming to just dive in. I've done a global overview of the story that we know so far from Legion. And indeed, as information comes out, we're going to cover that. Yup.
Excellent. So again, his stuff's in the description below. Thank you for joining me.
Anytime. Thanks for having me. Bye, everybody.
See ya.